Housework this time, Heracles, the prince said. Or more accurately, a little house cleaning for cows. You should relate well to them. The hero frowned. Heracles might joke about his own intelligence, but he resented it when others made fun of him. A marginal note here might be, I resent that too. Most people don't like to be picked on by anybody else, so that's your marginal note. Again, we are in the fourth labor here, so in your chart you should be marking the fourth labor. Sorry, the fifth labor. This is the fifth labor. Sorry. Eurystheus saw the frown and quickly went on. Your fifth labor, so go to your chart and write down this fifth labor now, please. Your fifth labor is to clean the stables of King Augeas. A day should suffice. Suffice means be enough. A day should be enough. So the fifth labor. Eurystheus saw the frown and quickly went on. Your fifth labor is to clean the stables of King Augeas. A day should suffice. A day? Heracles didn't know whether to laugh or bellow. Augeas' stables housed 30,000 head of cattle, and the stables hadn't been cleaned in 30 years. The floors were caked with filth and grime. Do you think you have me beaten, eh, Eurystheus? We'll see. Determined, Heracles traveled to Elis. Once there, he sat down on a high hill above the stables. So he's thinking up on this high hill above the stables. His problem is he's got to clean up after 30,000 cows in a place that hasn't been cleaned in 30 years. Here's the problem. Make sure you write this problem down in your chart. Underline it here. Write the word problem in the margin here. Problem, 30,000 cattle. Hasn't been cleared. Let's see. Hadn't been cleaned in 30 years. Underline that. For a long while he thought about his task. As he stared at the landscape. Landscape is, mountains, valleys, rivers, hills. As he stared at the landscape, the glint of water caught his eye. So the sun must be shining off of the water somewhere. A river. 2 rivers. An idea slowly took shape in Heracles' head. So begin thinking about the solution here. For the fifth labor, you should be writing down the solution now. An idea slowly took shape in Heracles' head. Then, with a great laugh, he strode down to the stables and broke down part of the walls at both ends. After grabbing a shovel, he went outside and began digging a ditch. Steadily the hero dug. Only now and again did he glance up to see that he was on course. Now, what is your prediction he will do here? He's digging a ditch, cleared out both ends of the stable. And he was thinking earlier about a river. At last, Heracles reached the banks of the first river. With a final shovel, he connected his ditch to the river. Then he dug another ditch to the second river. The water eagerly flowed from the 2 riverbeds. A little bit of personification here, because a river, it can't be eager. The water eagerly flowed. You could underline this, eagerly, and you could write the word person, personification here. The water eagerly flowed from the 2 riverbeds. Right through the huge building the streams ran. In no time at all, the walls and floors were sparkling clean. Here's your solution. He redirected the rivers, right solution over here. redirected the rivers to run right through the dirty stables. And the rivers did the work for him after he dug the ditches. So this is the end of the fifth labor. The sixth labor, mark this in your margin here, this is the sixth labor set upon Heracles was to destroy the birds of Stymphalus. This huge flock of birds lived in a marsh near Mycenae. The foul birds carried terrible diseases and tore the flesh of any living creature. So here's the problem. Write down your problem. Labor is the birds of Stymphalus. And the problem is it's a huge flock of birds. They were foul birds, meaning they were very disgusting and dirty birds that carried terrible diseases. And even more importantly here, they tore the flesh of any living creature. The area, this is the stuff that needs to go into your problem category. This is the problem. Heracles carefully made his way over the bones and skulls of people and animals. Harmless birds, did you say, Eurystheus? Heracles grumbled. Maybe for you. What creature would want your bitter flesh? Want your bitter flesh? What creature would want your bitter flesh? That's what Heracles is saying to Eurystheus, or saying to himself about Eurystheus. Finally, Heracles could go no farther without sinking into the stinking marsh. Now, how to get to those birds? Can I plow my way through? Luckily, Athena, remember the god Athena? Athena came to his aid. The goddess Athena came to his aid. The great warrior goddess stirred the wind, shaking some marsh pods. These pods made a rattling sound. Aha, goddess Athena, that rattle you gave me. How could I have forgotten, Heracles said. He reached into a bag at his side and drew out a brass rattle which Athena had given him. Then he moved to a mountainside near the marsh and shook the deafening rattle. At that sound, the startled birds rose above the marsh. They soon spotted the noisemaker. At once the flock moved in to attack. Faster than a whipping wind, Heracles loaded his bow. Arrow upon arrow he shot. Yet, though he killed many birds, more appeared and joined the attack. Again, Athena helped the hero by placing an invisible shield over Heracles. This shield protected him from the birds' hooked beaks and clawed feet. So in your solution, you should write that Athena helped him by reminding him to use the rattle up here. Remember the rattle? Reminding him to use the rattle. And then creating a protective, invisible shield around Heracles. A marginal note might be, that makes me think of the movie The Incredibles, where the older sister in the family was able to create protective shields. Heracles continued to launch arrows. He shot one after another until his bow was smoking. Smoking because it was so hot. It was putting off smoke, hot from being used so much. Finally, not a bird was left alive in the marsh. Victory brought no rest for the hero. Heracles' seventh labor. So we're on to the seventh labor. Please make sure you have filled in the chart for the sixth labor. Pause the video, fill in the chart for the sixth labor. So his seventh labor. Victory brought no rest for the hero. Heracles' seventh labor was to bring the Cretan bull to Eurystheus. This bull had been a gift to King Minos from Poseidon, god of the sea. Minos had promised to sacrifice the bull on Poseidon's altar. But as soon as he received the beautiful white animal, Minos had hidden it away. Now anyone knows a god cannot be deceived. Poseidon took revenge on Minos by striking the bull with madness. After that, no wall or fence could hold the beast. The people were terrified of him, the bull, the Cretan bull. Now, the Cretan bull means the bull is on the island of Crete, if you remember that from social studies also. Heracles knew these tales about the bull, yet they didn't deter him. He sailed to the island of Crete and calmly began searching for the bull. So at this point, you should pause the reading and you should write the problem. The problem is the bull, not only is it a bull, but it's a bull that has been struck with madness. It's a bull that's been struck with madness. Bull that's been struck with madness, and there's nothing that can hold it. No wall or fence can hold the beast. Here's the problem. Heracles knew these tales about the bull, yet they didn't deter him. He sailed to the island of Crete and calmly began searching for the bull. Let's find out what his solution is to this problem. Page 42. Before long, Heracles found the animal. "Come, pet," he called. "We've a little trip to take." The bull snorted angrily and charged. At the last moment, Heracles grabbed its horns and leapt onto its back. The bull roared and began bucking. But strong Heracles held on, gripping the bull all the tighter. Hour after hour they spun. A little comment might be here. I don't know if you've ever seen people riding bulls in rodeos or anything like that, but people don't last more than a few minutes. Heracles is doing this for hour after hour. Night fell, and still the dance continued. Then, as day broke, the bull gave a huge sigh and sank to the ground. Heracles patted its broad head. "I told you, pet, we've a trip to take." He loaded the bull onto his back. He put the bull on his back and headed back to Mycenae. So his solution was to get onto the back and to hold on tight for a long time, for hours and hours. He grabbed the horns and he was up on his back. There's the solution. Heracles' eighth task was to fetch the man-eating mares of Diomedes. Diomedes was the tyrannical king of Thrace. His people lived in constant fear of being seized and fed to the mares. So the labor is the eighth labor. Man-eating mares, Diomedes. I guess right there is the problem also. These are horses that eat people. So in the margin over here, you should write horses that eat people. That's a problem. Before Heracles left, he again asked Iolaus to join him, nephew who helped him with the lion in his first labor. No, who helped him with the nine-headed Hydra. Before Heracles left, he again asked Iolaus to join him. When some of Heracles' friends found out, they gathered and approached the hero. "We'd like to help you rid Thrace of Diomedes," they said. Heracles gazed off into the distance for a moment. Then he turned back with a huge grin. "Welcome," he said simply. The group marched to Thrace and immediately captured Diomedes. Then they paraded him in front of the people of Thrace. "Friends, I've heard about your king's many cruel acts," Heracles said to them. "I'd rather not believe they're true. So if anyone has a kind word to say about Diomedes, speak up." Complete silence followed. Heracles continued, "No one, eh? No one, eh? Well, we